10 years of brutal manifestation wisdom. So I've been studying manifestation for over 10 years now. I started at 21 years old, reading The Secret and watching the movie. I'm 31 years old now and have consumed a lot of knowledge, done a lot of things, manifested a lot of things in my life, changed my life from incredibly broke to a top 1% earner. And I've also helped other people do the same, close thousands upon thousands of dollars of sales and change their lives. So I know a thing or two. I have some experience. This is going to be a brutally honest video. In this video, I'm going to tell you some things that might bother you, that might rub you the wrong way. So just be ready for that because I'm about to expose some things that a lot of the manifestation space doesn't want you to know. Things that hold you back, put money in their pockets, and extract it from you. So let's get into it. I got my phone, like some of the other videos I did. These one take style videos, I'm gonna do more of them. So, manifestation is real, but not in the way that it's taught by the masses. Manifestation is simply moving something from idea or theory into reality. That's all it is. If you have an idea about something, let's say you want to create a comic book and you have a comic book character in your mind and you draw that comic book character, you have manifested that character. Whatever's in your mind is just bringing it into reality. It's not all this complex nonsense that people talk about. That is it at its core. Okay? Idea into reality. You can do this with many things. Some things are easier to do. Maybe drawing a character is easier for you. But generating $1 million in business might be a little more difficult, or so you think. But it's simply because you don't have a certain level of awareness yet of how to do that. So manifestation is real. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not real, but there's so much components missing and so much things that they're not telling you because they want things to be super easy for you because ease sells. And we'll get into that. This is very interesting. I want you to understand, you have the luxury of believing in manifestation. Why do I say this? Because as a nation becomes more secular and moves away from religion, as they accumulate more wealth, as they become more economically viable, these ideas of manifestation, new age thought begin to arise. Okay? Because a lot of the manifestation teaching has to do with only dealing with yourself. Only think about yourself. Only think about your own mind. Don't worry about anyone else. Don't listen to anyone else. Just think in your head and bring it to you. Only you. You don't need anyone else. And this happens as a nation becomes more economically prosperous. People become more individualistic. People are hanging out with their friends less. People are less connected with their families. People are less connected in general. We have the internet, which is supposed to connect us, yet everybody feels so alone. This is from economic prosperity. So manifestation starts showing up in these types of environment. This is why it's called New Age thought or New Age spirituality, New Age philosophy. Because religion, classic religion, is the old age philosophy when people were poor. But we're not poor no more. We don't need that stuff to bind us together and keep us together in community because we're rich. So who cares? And most of you watching this are from economically viable nations. I'm from Canada. My number one country that watches my channel is America. Second is the UK. Economically viable places. Also, the writers of this time in the New Age movement and manifestation movement, they're all from economically viable nations. Now, there's a couple from India, but most of them are from America or Australia. So Rhonda Burns, for instance, who wrote The Secret, is from Australia. Neville Goddard, he was born in Barbados, but he moved to New York at 17 years old. And he lived out like a good chunk of his life in LA. You know this stuff is heavily prevalent in Los Angeles. So he basically lived out his life in America. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, American. Um, William Walker Atkinson, who wrote The Kabbalion, American. These are all economically viable nations. So I need you to understand that you have a privilege to think about yourself only. Because if you were in a less prosperous nation, you would have to be thinking about everyone else because you would need to work together as a team to change your life. And that hasn't left. Okay. And I'm going to talk about that later because you isolating yourself and being alone and not getting anyone else's help is keeping you stuck. The manifestation space has done this to you. It's kept you isolated, alone, and stuck. So there's that. Just remember, you're privileged to believe in this. That's all. I'm not saying that you shouldn't believe in it. Just understand you're lucky to be able to utilize it and believe in it and actually sit there and think about yourself 95% of the time and think about how you feel 95% of the time, where there's some kid digging up cobalt that just wants to feed his family and needs to work together with everybody to make sure that they live, and he can't think about only himself. Okay? Technique does not matter. So, due to manifestation being a niche, being something that people need to make content around in order to continue to stay relevant and in order to continue to earn money, they need new techniques all the time. Oh, do this and it manifests tomorrow. Oh, when you do this meditation in 2 days, it'll show up. You see this all over the internet. You see it because technique is going to be necessary. New techniques are going to be necessary in order to stay relevant. But technique doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter because technique really doesn't have anything to do with manifestation. It really doesn't have anything to do with pulling something from your mind and bringing it into reality. Because I said this before in my, oh no, wait, that video is not out yet. That video is on the way, but I'll give you a little glimpse of what I'm going to say in it. It's like going to the gym, okay? There's people that use all sorts of different techniques in the gym. Some people are strictly calisthenics, which is body weight, and they're ripped. Some people are strictly kettlebells, and they're jacked. And some people are strictly dumbbells, and they're good. Or some people just do like Olympic lifts or CrossFit or whatever. And they're all fit because as long as you're utilizing something that works, it's fine. You don't need 100 million techniques. Just do something that feels good. If writing affirmations to you feels good to do and it helps out your life, just do that. Just do it. But you don't need to do it. Do you think Jeff Bezos was waking up and writing affirmations when he was building Amazon? No. Alex Hormozy, who's a big-time entrepreneur, Mr. $100 million before he ever got on YouTube, he said he just gets up and he works. He got up and worked, made $100 million. He didn't sit there and do affirmations or do meditations and blah, blah, blah. People get rich and then they do that stuff because they have time and money. So technique doesn't matter. If you want to just do something that feels good to you. Okay? Cool. The law of attraction is only half the story. So the law of attraction was popularized by Rhonda Byrne's movie, The Secret. And it was also published into a book. Massive bestseller, promoted by Oprah, promoted by all of these celebrities, all this type of stuff. And basically, the law of attraction is essentially think in your mind and connect to the vibration and frequency of what it is you want to manifest in your life, and it will just show up. How's that been going for you? Did you get your millions of dollars yet? Because I started this at 21 years old. And it was not solely that got me my money. The law of attraction is only half the game. The other half is action. But they will not tell you this. No one wants to tell you this because action isn't sexy. Action doesn't sell. If you want to sell something, okay, it needs to get somebody a dream outcome. It needs to be easy. It needs to not take long. And they need to believe that they can do it. There is a high likelihood of achievement. This is how you sell something. So let's look at the law of attraction. It gives you a desired outcome, whatever it is you want, apparently. It's easy. You don't have to do anything. You can sit in your house and meditate on what it is you desire. Is it going to take a whole bunch of time? Well, if you're doing it correctly, it'll happen really, really quick. Whatever doing it correctly is. And is there a high perceived likelihood of achievement? This is where it gets tricky and not necessarily nefarious, but they'll give you case studies of a couple people, but for 95% of people, it doesn't work. But you know what does work for the vast majority of people who actually accumulate wealth and change their lives? Action. They thought about what they want, they built a plan to get it, and they took action to get it. Look, this is not me getting at Rhonda Burns. She's accomplished a lot of great things, and I think The Secret in general is a good thing, but it's only half the game. But you have to understand, Rhonda Burns didn't just sit in her house and just think about having a gajillion copies sold bestseller. She made a movie and put the movie into the world. She had a production team. I don't know how she got that. I don't know. Maybe she already had some money. Production team, made the movie, published a book, bestseller. She did things. She did stuff. She took action. All of the people in the manifestation space that you watch, what are they doing? They're taking action. They're not sitting in their house and doing nothing. I am in a group of over 300 people who make 6 figures plus a year. So that's 100,000 and greater. So there's some people making millions of dollars a year within that particular group. And you know what the commonality is amongst all of them? Not that they think and manifest things and just think about what they want. They all take relentless action towards what it is they want to achieve. Relentless action. Quickly, intelligently, and they make it happen. So the law of attraction is only half the game. You need to take action. It's that simple. What would you rather do? Would you rather do what's rare or what works? Because I want you to ask yourself, when have you actually truly changed your life without doing something? You want to manifest a partner. You want to manifest the love of your life. Good luck just sitting in your house and manifesting that person. Because imagine, you're still going to have to do something. Because imagine you sit there in your house and somebody messages you on Instagram. Some guy messages you on Instagram. Some NBA player. Okay? You're still going to have to meet this individual, which means you're still going to have to take action. If you just want them to come over to your house, you're not thinking safely at all. So you're going to have to take some sort of action. You're going to have to meet this individual. You're going to have to speak to them. You're going to have to do something. It's that simple. So don't just sit there in your house thinking that you don't need to do anything. All right. Oh, this is a good one. You have fantasies, and that's why you can't change your reality. You think you have a goal, but you really have a fantasy, and this is why you quit all the time and you can't change your reality. So I see people run into this all the time. They have a info business, for instance, because I teach people how to sell information. And they have an info business, and they know they need to make content to make this info business work. But they have these grandiose expectations of the content. So they go and make a video, put it out, no one sees it, and they quit. I don't hear from them for 3, 4 months. They quit because they put work into something. No one saw it. They're like, I'm going to fail. The only reason you feel like that is because you had a fantasy about the result. If you have a fantasy about the result, when the pendulum swings back, the cosmic pendulum, this is the universal law of rhythm, okay? The fifth universal law within the Kabbalion, rhythm. You had a fantasy. It doesn't turn out the way you want. You swing back to disappointment. And then you sit there disappointed for a while, and then you eventually say to yourself, I'm tired of being disappointed. I'm going to go make another YouTube video. But you still have a fantasy about it and these expectations of what it's supposed to be. So then you go do it again, and it's still a dud because you haven't taken the actions to get better at the particular thing and get good at the particular thing. I've had some videos do well, but I'm still getting better at YouTube. I have some videos that flop, a lot of videos that flop, but I'm learning and I'm trying new things. But you have a fantasy, so you go and try it again, and it fails, and then you're disappointed again and depressed, and you sit there for a while, and you go on this loop back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until you just say, forget this. I'm not doing it. Because you had a fantasy. You need to stop having a fantasy. The reason you have a fantasy is because you don't see the drawbacks of a situation. You only see the good. And this is another thing that manifestation does. Yeah, yo, you're going to manifest all this money. You don't see the drawbacks of that. You don't understand what drawbacks come with having more money. It makes your life a lot better. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's going to make your life worse. It's probably going to make your life better if you're at least a decent person. If not, it's just going to amplify badness. But it has drawbacks. Everything has drawbacks. It's universal law. Everything has benefits and everything has drawbacks. But you have a fantasy because you see no drawbacks. If you have a fantasy about something, it will not occur. You have this obsession and this pedestalization of what it is you desire. You won't get it. Anything you pedestalize will avoid you because it will pity you. Do you want to be around people you pity? That's what reality will do to you. It'll be like, oh, look at that. Look at you. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. He's got a fantasy about me. That's what reality's saying to you right now. So stop that. If you want to achieve something, stop building a fantasy of it and understand there's going to be action involved in your manifestation. You're going to think about what it is you want and you're going to take action to get it, just like every single creator you watch does. These people been around 10 years. Some of these creators, some of these people in the manifestation space, they've been around. Okay? So there's that. This is very, very interesting. I don't say these things to depress you guys, okay? I'm just brutally honest, okay? Sometimes to a fault, sometimes to a flaw, because not everybody can handle truth. So that is what it is. But the truth will set you free, but at first it will piss you off. A mentor of mine told me that. A mentor who helped me make a lot of money, actually. So manifestation tends to grow in popularity during economic downturns. Why? Because people are desperate. People's money is tight. People have problems. Okay? Think and Grow Rich was written in 1937. Listen, Think and Grow Rich has some good principles in it. All right. So it's one of my book recommendations. It is, but it must be followed with action. It came out in 1937 during the last couple of years of the Great Depression. People were in hard times. They needed hope. They needed something that said, yeah, I can just think and be rich. I can just think about stuff and they'll come. But that didn't work for 99% of people. Sorry. That's just how it operates. The Secret came out in 2006. In 2008, there was an economic crash. So people's money was already getting tight around those times. Secret comes out, oh wow, I can just think myself into wealth. This is so easy. Wow. I want you to understand something. The only reason you want a particular thing is because it's actually hard to get for most people. It's hard to get. If it wasn't hard to get, you wouldn't want it. If a Lamborghini didn't require a level of effort to obtain, you wouldn't want it. So you want to do something incredibly easy to get things that are supposed to be hard. Okay. Now, hard is a matter of perspective. If you believe something is difficult, then it will be. So I try to make everything just seem easy. I'm like, YouTube, easy. Making money, easy. It's all easy. Ronnie Coleman, when he was doing the workout, light work, light work. He's lifting the most heavy weights. Light work. He's telling himself a different story as he carries out action. Remember that. But yeah, manifestation tends to follow economic downturn. So what's happening now? People's pockets are tight. How much did you hear about manifestation during the pandemic? I didn't hear much about it, but I did hear a lot about it in 2006, 2008. How old was I at that time? 15, 16, something like that. Yeah, somewhere around those ages, right? Did hear a lot about it at those times. I don't know. I didn't hear as much it within the space during the pandemic. Why? Because the money printers were going off. Everyone had money. Everyone got money. Everybody was up during the pandemic. Not everyone, some businesses got hurt and stuff like that, but people had money. You don't hear about manifestation. Now we're suffering the consequences of all this money printing, and people's pockets are tight and inflation is slapping people. I went to the grocery with my wife the other day. Groceries were $300. I'm like, how are people working a normal wage, even surviving, even eating food? And I look around the grocery store and no one had a full cart. No one had a full cart because people are in difficult situations, tons of debt. They're not earning enough money, all this type of stuff. So what happens? I need a way out. Manifestation is one of these things. Another one, gambling is at an all-time high. Gambling right now is at an all-time high. Gambling revenues are up. Crypto, everyone's jumping into crypto and gambling, meme coins, blah, 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 blah. Because the movement tends to follow economic downturns. So just be aware of that. Just be aware of that. Pay attention, right? Might want to hold on to some of your money. The rich make strategies and plans. So, what does this have to do with manifestation? Because a lot of celebrities, a lot of wealthy people will tell you about manifestation. They want to equate their success to some divine providence and some divine power. Like I said, thinking appropriately for what you want is necessary. Actually, it's not even necessary, but it helps. If you watch my shadow side video, I talk about that because you don't need to think positively in order to get things in your life. There are plenty of people that have a lot of neuroticism and a lot of dark fuel and a lot of shadow fuel that accomplish a lot of things. So it's not about positive thought. J-Lo said you need to force yourself to think positively. No, no, you don't. You don't. Especially if you're higher in neuroticism, it could actually help you to think about what you don't want in order to get what you want. But the rich create strategies and plans. Every actor practiced to act. They built a strategy to act. Every rich business owner I know, which is a good chunk of them, they all strategized. They all built a plan, and then they execute that plan. That's how you manifest something, guys. That's how it's manifested. Let me make sure I got time over here. My camera only records half an hour. But as I was saying, the rich strategize. You need a plan of attack. You need a way to get from point A to point B. That's how you manifest it. I need to understand something. I need you guys to, because a lot of people that just don't pay enough attention. None of you are stupid. Well, I get some comments sometimes, and I'm being nice. Get some comments sometime that I'm like, yo, did you really just say that? But, anyways, you need to pay attention. A lot of these uh, people in the manifestation space, they only work with people that make a certain amount of money, right? That make a decent amount of money, at least five figures. Some people, it's like you got to make 30K, you got to make 50K, right? And they'll only work with you if you're in that range, which I totally understand. You know why? Because somebody like that, an entrepreneur like that, has already demonstrated that they have the ability to get money. They have the ability to follow a process. They have the ability to go from point A to point B. They have the ability to manifest money. They have the ability to go from idea to action to manifestation. They already have the ability. So when you work with somebody else and they make a couple shifts to your mind, let's say it's a 1% shift, okay? If you make $1 million a year, for instance, right? A 1% shift is what? $10,000. Nice. Now, let's say you get a 1% shift every time you work with this particular manifestation coach or something like that. And let's say you're in a program for, I don't know, 7 weeks, 49 days, 50 days. And each time you get a 1% increase, 1% increase, 1% shift in mind, 1% better. So after those 50 days, that's a 50% increase. You will make an extra $500,000. You will make a big chunk of money because when you're already making money, the small increments do a lot of damage. The small increments are big, right? If you make $100 million a year, 1% difference is $1 million. So they've already demonstrated idea, action, manifestation. So you're making a good bet when you work with these sort of people because they're gonna make something happen. You're rigging the deck in your favor, which I'm a fan of. Good. Do that. They should make as much money as possible, but I need you to understand rich people plan things out. I never seen somebody make a significant amount of money and be like, oh yeah, accident. Yeah, happened by accident. It didn't happen by accident. They did something. They may have had, some luck at play. And I'll talk about luck in another video because you can create luck. But I may have some luck at play, some relationships at play, some unique factors at play, but they all had a plan. They didn't just think it and it drop into reality. Ooh, this is a big time one. You need to stop denying reality. You need to stop denying the situation that you are in. Okay? You need to acknowledge that you are in a situation. Why is this? Because what you avoid controls you. I've seen many manifestation related things basically telling you to ignore your reality and just envision something else. What you avoid controls you. If you are avoiding a difficult conversation, that conversation is controlling you and dictating certain things in your life. If you want to lose weight and you're overweight, you need to step on the scale and look at how much you weigh. You need to face it. If you don't face it, you won't fix it. If your bank account is messed up and you're not making the sort of money that you can be making, you need to look at the bank account. If you're in significant amounts of debt, you need to look at the debt. You need to see it. You need to acknowledge it. You need to know that it's there and it's real. That way you can deal with it. It's easier to fight an opponent you can see. I trained to box, so I know about that. If I can't see my opponent, well, if I got debt to crush up, I can't see it, well, what am I going to do? You need to stop denying reality if you want to change it. I talk about this a bit in my Your Emotions Are Money in Disguise video where I talk about acknowledge, alchemize, ascend. You need to acknowledge the situation. You need to shift the situation. You need to alchemize it. You look at your bank account, it's not what you want it to be. So, what are you going to do to change that? You need to alchemize the situation. And then you will ascend the situation. Once you do something about it, action. That's how you manifest. So, stop denying reality. Look reality in the face and be like, yo, I'm not afraid of you. I will look you in the eye and I will conquer you. Because reality is looking at you like, you're afraid of me. If someone's afraid of you, how likely are you going to treat them well? It's just human nature. If you know they're afraid of you, you're going to take advantage of them. That's just human nature, right? It's also reality nature. If reality knows you're afraid of it, it's going to be like, yeah, he won't even look at the bank account. She won't even step on the scale. He won't even have that conversation. I got this person on lock. They're going to stay right there. You want to change your reality. The universe likes homeostasis, doesn't like things to change. So yeah, you're going to stay right there. Don't try and shake up nothing. You just keep avoiding that conversation. Stay right there. Stop denying reality. Hmm. Spiritual people are not good people, but empowered people are spiritual people. So, what do I mean by this? Spiritual people often have a sense of morality or just the sense of being better than other people because they're spiritual and they're woke and they know more than other people, but their lives are trash. They don't have the relationship they want. They have problems with their family. They have drug abuse problems. They don't have any money. They're very disempowered. Your level of spirituality is dependent upon your level of empowerment. Why? Because spirituality is simply your ability to change your reality. What did Nero say? He says, what's that thing he says, man? Spirituality without the ability to change your reality is vanity. He's correct. I give him shout. I shout him out for that because it's a very, very, very true statement. Super true statement. It's vanity. You can't change your reality because you're disempowered. So how do you become empowered? Empowerment lies within 7 vectors. Okay, your mind, your health, your relationships, your income, your wealth, your influence, then your spirit. The other 6 empower the spirit. If you are sound in mind and strong in mind and have a certain mentality, you will be empowered. Can you handle losses? Can you handle difficult situations? When things go left, when things go wrong, which they will because it's just the law of rhythm, that's the universe. When things go wrong, how do you handle them? Is your mind strong? Is your mind empowered? Because if it's not, you're going to be disempowered. Your health. So many spiritual people neglect their health. Like, yeah, it's just a thing. They neglect their health. They have all these sorts of health problems, all these sorts of problems. I talk about this in my Spiritual Mania video. So let me ask you something. If there's something heavy that you need to pick up in your way, otherwise you're not going to be able to get to your goal, right? Wouldn't it help for you to be strong so you can lift that heavy thing out of the way? Yes. This is a form of empowerment. Your health is a form of empowerment. If you are sick, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You just want your health back. Health is a high level of empowerment. It is the tectonic plate that the rest of your life is on. Income. Can you earn money? Your income is just a direct reflection of the amount of people that you have provided service to in the world and the type of service you have provided. Is it valuable? How valuable is it that people will part with their money, their energy for it? Your bank account is a direct reflection of the service you have provided to other people. The reason so many people who get caught up in manifestation are broke is because of selfishness. I'm going to say that again. The reason why so many people who get caught up in manifestation are broke is because of selfishness. The space, the readings, all the stuff you read told you to only think about yourself and how you feel and what you want. So you don't think about nobody else. You don't think about what anyone else needs so that you can earn some money, because you only earn significant amounts of money through service. This is why, like I said before, other people will only work with business owners who make a certain amount of money. They understand how money operates. You need to be of service if you want income, and stop thinking only about yourself. And people often say, well, Seth, what about people, who live in poverty and impoverished countries and stuff like that? Go back to what I said before. Believing in this stuff is a privilege. Believing in manifestation, believing in New Age philosophy, all this type of stuff, it is a privilege to have a certain level of awareness around these things. Other people don't have this privilege. I can't tell you why. I don't have all the answers. Okay. I'm still learning. I can't tell you exactly why, but I think a big part of it is education. If if certain people knew there were other opportunities out there, they might take the risk to try and get them, like Francis Ngannou. I think I talked about Francis Ngannou in my rhythm video. Francis Ngannou grew up in a dirt hut in, where was it? Cameroon, I think. I can't remember, but an African country. And he had to do his homework by the dim fire his mother used to cook with. And he constantly got kicked out of school because they couldn't afford the school fees. But he knew he had the opportunity to become a boxer, and he became UFC heavyweight champion. So he had the education to understand what he could do, and he took the risk to actually do it. That's another thing. If you want to change your life, there's going to be some risk involved. But yeah, that's beside the point. But it's a privilege to believe in this sort of thing. You need to be a service to other people. Stop being selfish. Stop sitting there in your head only thinking about what you want, you want, you want, you want. It will keep you broke. Had to jump out for a sec. Somebody was at the door. But I realized I skipped over relationships and I jumped straight to income. So relationships empower you, not just a romantic relationship, but network. Who do you know who can help you? Who do you know who can assist you along the journey? Even Napoleon Hill talks about the mastermind effect. I think he talks about it in Think and Grow Rich. It's either Think and Grow Rich or Outwitting the Devil, but it's probably Think or Grow Rich. He talks about the mastermind effect, while the rest of the manifestation space is telling you only be by yourself and think about yourself and only use your own mind for everything. But you need a network, because nobody achieves something fantastic by themselves. You're not even achieving it by yourself because you're on the internet looking for knowledge from other people on how to change your reality. So that should tell you something. Relationships are super important. If you don't have good relationships, you're a disempowered individual. So I spoke about income, wealth. Wealth is different than income. Wealth is your ability to maintain your lifestyle without income. So if you have wealth and you can maintain your life for years, you will be incredibly empowered. You will make different decisions than other people who need to think about day to day to day to day. So wealth is your next level of empowerment. Then you have influence, right? So I spoke about mind, health, relationships, income, wealth, influence. Yeah. So influence also empowers you. How many people believe in you? How many people will do what you say? Look at all these influencers and all these people with followings and all these people with influence. They're able to earn money because they're able to influence a group of people. Whole bunch of spiritual people can't influence nobody. They can't even influence themselves to take action to change their lives. It's rather unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because it's just a lack of awareness. It's just they don't know what to do. And they've been trapped in this cycle that's kept them trapped. And they're parting with their money for things that don't work. It's quite sad. But when you combine all of those, mind, health, relationships, income, wealth, influence. Then you get spirit. Then your spirit is empowered because you can change reality more easily. You're sound in mind, right? So you can handle problems. You have health, so you can carry out, tasks throughout the world. You have income, so you can make things happen through capital leverage, for instance. You have wealth, so you're not worried. So you can think soundly and have a sound mind, right? You have relationships that can help you, so you're more empowered, and you have influence. All of these things help you change your reality more easily. So you need to get empowered. And the more you stay by yourself, and the more you consume people who tell you not to be out there or link up with anybody or learn from anybody else or sit there in your room and meditate upon what you're going to get solely, your life will not change. You will not empower yourself. It's that simple. And if you're not empowered, you are less spiritually powerful. I don't care how much crystals you have and how much you know about, I don't know, some interplanetary galactic blah blah blah. I don't care. If you're disempowered, you are not spiritual. Sorry, everyone has a certain level of spirituality, but if you are disempowered, you don't have a high level of spirituality. How quickly can you change your reality? That will dictate how spiritual you are. And this is why so many people don't understand when I say tons of these billionaires are spiritual people, because they can change their reality quickly. Yeah, I won't get into specific people, but there's a lot of people that people dislike, for instance, that they're spiritual individuals, like a Donald Trump, right? Incredibly polarizing individual, right? But Trump is obviously has a strong mind. He's dealt with a lot of negative things. The man got shot at and came back, right? Health. I think he's 70 or older than 70, still kicking around, still looking like he can handle this stuff. Um, Relationships. He's got good relationships with people to make things happen, with the right people to make at least what he wants to happen, I guess, right? But he's got business associates, he's got relationships with people. Income, you don't have to say anything about that. Wealth, you don't have to say anything about that. Influence, the man's the president. These are all high levels of empowerment. That creates a more spiritual individual. The man is literally shifting reality as we speak, tariffing Canada and doing whatever else, trying to shut people out of the FBI, all type of things quickly, right? Because that is spiritual power. Whether you like it or not, whether you like the person or not. This is not about liking anybody or anything. It's not about politics. I don't deal with politics. Politics is not the universal way. You know what I'm saying? That's for the masses. But even the people you dislike, people you can't stand, they're highly spiritual individuals. So do with that what you will. Empower yourself. Stop listening to these people keeping you weak. My life got better when I got stronger, mentally and physically and relationally. I got more income, I got more wealth, I got more influence. Okay, that's all you got to know about that. Man, people are going to listen to this and be like, man, Seth, you're such a jerk. Like, is this what you really think? Nah, man, I'm a nice guy, guys. I'm just real. I'm just honest. You know what I mean? To a fault sometimes, where it's like, yeah, I just tell what it is. For you astrology people, I'm a Virgo, so that's probably part of it if you're into astrology. Ooh, this is a big one. This is a big one. Oh, man. Please stop pretending like you're rich because it will keep you poor. The reason why the manifestation space tells you to do this is so they can sell you things. So you will buy their stuff. Oh yeah, this is $10,000 to buy, but the highest version of you, the spiritually aligned rich version of you would buy this for $10,000, even though you only have $2,000 in the bank. You would buy it. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. The ideal version of you is financially responsible. How do you think they became rich? By being responsible with finances. If you want to be wealthy, okay, you need to be financially responsible. Income is different than wealth. There are people who can make significant amounts of income, great cash flow, and cash flow is very, very important because you need it for lifestyle. If you want to have a nice lifestyle, you need cash flow. Okay, so people tell you cash is trash, yet they are taking your cash from you to go buy stuff and to go buy their assets. They're taking your cash from you, but cash is trash. Sure. No, it's not. You need cash flow. Okay. So they're telling you to act like you're rich, and then you just end up broke and in terrible financial situations because they finessed you into that. It's so nefarious. It's such a super nefarious thing. Yeah, the highest version of you would buy it. Don't you want to step into that energy? Shut up your mouth, dog. Like, are you kidding me? Bruv, it pisses me off because I'm like, you're literally making people go broke for things that aren't going to work for them. Let me tell you something. If somebody reaches out to me to join the next realm, right? And I help people out, you know, I work things together to get people into the next realm because it's not for most people it's not cheap. For other people, it is cheap, but for most people, it's not cheap. So if I speak to somebody and I can tell that they really can't afford it, I don't sell it to them. I don't sell it to them because they're going to part with so much money. They're going to become so desperate. They're going to become so mentally obsessed on what they have lost that they're not going to be able to focus on the program. They're going to be like, yo, Seth, can this pay me tomorrow? I need this to pay me next week. That's what's going to happen in their head. And they're not going to be able to do the program. So all I tell them is, listen, watch my YouTube, come back when you get the money. I'm not going to extract your money from you if you're in that sort of situation. It's that simple. I'm not going to tell you, well, the highest self version of you, the life that you won't want to manifest, they would buy it. I teach financial responsibility and financial independence, and you don't get that by being financially irresponsible. So stop acting as if, stop denying reality, and figure out what you can do. There's plenty things on my channel to help you, what you can do to start earning more money. And this is the last one. Stop oppressing your masculine energy. I find this to be a very prominent thing within the manifestation niche. It's all about the divine feminine, feminine this and feminine that. Listen, feminine energy is very, very important because if you don't have feminine energy, you're not going to receive anything in life. You won't receive anything. Feminine energy is the energy of receiving, but you don't receive without first giving. It's that simple. You need to put a projection into the world. You need to give. Stop being selfish. Like I said before, you need to give. You need to be of value. You need to push value into the world. You need to project value into the world. You need to demonstrate to other people that you can help them so that you can manifest a new reality. Even if you go and manage to get a new job, for instance, that pays more, you still have to put a projection out. You may have had to hand in your resume. You may have had to go for an interview, apply for the job, right? So stop denying that because that is keeping you very, very oppressed and very, very broke. And I've made an entire video about that particular masculine energy vector, and you need to use it if you want to get rich. So that's that for today. You can watch that masculine energy video here. I hope that was helpful for you and gave you a shock of reality, a reality that you can now change. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.